Thank you for tuning in to the Patricia Show. This is Patricia. Please don't forget to press like and subscribe and um, share. Okay, so this is part three of Karmers. The reason I was getting so emotional on the other part two was because um, I've been going through some very challenging things for the last 11 years. I think it's been 11 years, or maybe almost 12. And shortly when I began to go through it, um, I was told that this was all of my karmas coming in. And I needed to consent all the ones, not all of, all the ones I had left, and I need to consume 51% of it. I don't even think I paid that any attention because I was so wrapped up in what was going on until I really didn't pay attention. Throughout this trying ordeal, I've been told periodically that these were karmas. It's the same thing, and that this is what I had to do. So it seems like it seems like one thing is happening to. It's one thing that happened to you, but it's so intense. And then I thought, well, that this makes sense, that all of this would be, everything I'm going through would be like lifetimes of karmas, you know what I mean? Because it's so intense. And then it came to me, not again, a few weeks ago, that I had almost completed the 51%, and I was almost done. And I could have just ran down the street crying because this has been trying for me. But I could have ran down the street crying, but not crying, of sadness, but tears of joy. I remember years ago, that actor, his name Anthony Quinn, I think that's his name. He played in Silence of the Lamb. The man who was, the one that was the Hannibal. He was in jail, remember? I know everybody saw that picture, unless you were under a rock somewhere. But it's called The Silence of the Lamb. He used to be a terrible alcoholic. And I remember reading an article about him that he said he was the last time I guess it was, when he had got drunk, he was so drunk he couldn't even walk, and he fell on the ground. He was so drunk. When he fell on the ground, he said he heard a voice in his ear that said, "It is done." And since then, he had never took another drink. He went to AA or wherever he went, and he never had a problem anymore. And that's when I guess he was already famous, but I guess it really took off. His fame took off and everything. But at the time when I read that, I was much younger. But at that point, I knew within myself that was his God self that has given him that message and that has said to him, "It's done." Because what it was telling him is your karmas are complete. So whatever he was doing, whatever all this drinking, this alcoholism, drinking he had, it has something to do with his past lives. And that's why the voice, when he fell out, he heard it say, "It's done," which means your karmas are complete. And so so that part of his life was over with the karmas. He would never have to go through that again. I knew that. And as a young teenager, when I read that, it really stuck with me. I don't even know why at that point that stuck with me. I had never heard anybody, say that they were going through karmas and they heard the voice say, or felt it or anything like that whatever, what they were going through was done. So I don't know, but it really stuck with me. Then later, when I started having my own issue that I've been going through for 11 or 12 years, that moment with the actor, I think his name is Anthony Hopkins. Oh, Anthony Hopkins, that's his name. The one who did The Silence of the Lamb. That memory came back in my mind. when he had went through his alcoholism, and then he heard it's done. And I thought maybe that's why that stood out to me so much when I read it, is because, it would, that's what would happen in my life. You see what I mean? And so, I don't know, it just really stood out to me when he said that, it's done. But it was letting him know. I don't know I don't know if you have, like when something like your karma is done, if you have somebody come and say that, or that's just what happened to him, you know what I mean? I don't know. But what I'm saying is it really stood out. I understood perfectly well what that meant, that it was telling him that his karma was complete. And he hasn't drunk anymore since that time. So that his alcoholism had something to do with the karmas from another lifetime. So I've seen people really struggle and then really be, they're going through something, they're really praying to God, and it's really, they're not really getting any answers, and they don't know why. And I've heard people say, I don't understand why God, won't answer me, but it's not that, you have to go through this because you're learning. So let me give you an example real quick. Let's say through all of your lifetimes, no, I don't want to say. I want to say something so you can really understand. Let's say through your lifetime, several lifetimes, you were a high priestess over some religious organization or something. And you put, like voodoo, because voodoo is really a religious. So let's say you were a priestess like that, voodoo, in the voodoo religious. But you put curses on people. You put curses on people. You put curses on your husbands. You wanted to control them. And you put curses on people to control them. And then when somebody came to you, like I would come to you and say, my husband is leaving me, but I don't want him to leave me. Can you put a love spell on him so he won't leave? And then you would put a love spell on my husband so he would never leave me. The bottom, you're creating karma. But you're creating a lot of karma because you're doing this for yourself and for anybody who paid the money to come to you. So you're creating a lot of karma there. So the lesson here is to learn that you shouldn't control anybody. That's the lesson you need to learn from the karma. The karma is you controlled a lot of people in your lifetime through unnatural means. Okay. So now let's say you get in that last lifetime and some type of spirit force or something takes control of your life. And you can't, it's just controlling you, taking control of your life. And you can't really you tell it to leave, but it won't leave, okay? Because it's taking control of your life, so it won't leave. So now you're praying and praying and praying for God to move this. You don't even know why it's there. You have a feeling that this is your last life. You're very spiritual and very in tune with the light of God, but why do you have this dark force there? This dark spirit of some type that you feel is trying to control your life, okay? So now, this would be the karma. So all the lifetimes that you've had, right? All of it. And so you're going through a lot. Your luck is bad and all this. You're going through a lot because of this spirit, okay? So now this would be all of your lifetimes. What's happening here is all the lifetimes that you have controlled people. All of those lifetimes are right here, right now. And you're getting it back. Because you control people in many of your lifetimes. It doesn't have to be all of them, but let's just say many. So now you're getting it back. So now when this evil spirit or whatever it is trying to control you, you're learning a lesson here that you shouldn't ever control people or whatever your lesson is, but let's just say it's control. You're learning that. So now you're feeling, you don't even know what you did in another life, but you have a feeling that it's something to do with control. Because remember, we don't know because that memory is taken from us. And when you get so high up spiritually, things do come back to you about your life. But I want to make this simple, like you don't know what's happening. So now somebody tells you, okay, maybe your friends say, look, I really think this is a karma that you have here. And you feel deep inside too that it's a karma. So what do? Instead of you trying to get the spirit to go away, well, first you try to get the spirit to go away. So you go to different people and you pay your money and nobody can get them out. And you wonder why nobody can't get this out. This is a simple thing. Get the spirit out. But you can't get it out because there's a karma to be balanced. And then let's say you go get a lot of readings, and in one of your readings, somebody even tells you this spirit is not going to leave until God said for it to leave. Because you're learning a lesson here. So then you finally come to the realization, it's no need of me paying people to move this because I'm paying all my money and nobody is moving it. So I'm going to listen to that little voice inside of me that has already told me this is a karma. And it's not going to be moved until the karma is moved. So let me sit down and listen. You know what I mean? Let me sit down. Peace, be still. And know that I am God. Be still and listen to God. That's sort of what that means. What it means is peace, be still, and know that you are God. But we'll get into that later. Okay, so then one day the message comes to you strong that this is a karma. And you're actually learning your lessons through this whole, interaction with this spirit. You're learning your lesson. So now you decide there's no need of me going to people try to get this thing moved. There's no need of me even trying to keep moving it because God is not going to allow it to move until the karma is complete. So then you begin to focus on the karma to move it. And then you go on. It might take a few years, for it to move. It might take 10, might take 11 years for it to move because you're working on transmuting this karma. But as I said in the other video, you're at the door. The door is closed. And you're trying to transmute these karmas. All of a sudden, you get to the point where you have transmuted 51% of the karma. And you're at the door. What's going to happen? Magically, the door will open. The light from God will fall upon you. Your brothers in the spirit world will come and flood you with light. And that spirit that you've been fighting for 11 or 12 years will be gone. And it appears that it's magically gone. What has made it go? Your lesson is learned already. You've learned your lesson. There's nothing else to learn. Why would it stay there? It's not going to. You've already asked, you've already asked in the beginning of this 11 or 12 years ago for it to be removed. You ain't got to keep asking God for the same thing over and over and over again like most of us do. You don't have to do that. You've already asked once, but you didn't even have to ask because it was going to be removed anyway. Whether you had asked God or not, it's going to be removed when the karma is balanced. Because the only reason it's there because of the karma and you learning to learn lessons. So this is how you can boil this down. This is what God has sent to you in the form of all of your karmas for you to transmute them, and then it'll be lifted from your life, just like magical. You don't have to ask. You don't have to say anything. Magically, the light will fall on you, and the brothers of the light will be there to help you. So sometimes you might feel that you're fighting against the grain or fighting against something and you're not getting any help. You're getting the help. You just don't realize you're getting it, but you're getting the help. 15 minutes comes so fast, people. So this is the end of this one. The next one I'm going to get is going to be a short tape because I'm going to get right on into how to remove transmute karmas. Thank you for tuning in to the Patricia Show.